can't resist a hustler.
Yeah, I am, mate.
All right. You're not really a hustler, are you?
Well, I'm from Hustler magazine, yeah.
Ah. Not that. So it's not a description of you.
No. I'm one of the quiet, retiring types.
A tall, quiet, retiring type.
Well, occasionally, yeah.
How tall are you?
6'5".
6'5". That's fairly tall.
Thank you.
And I guess everybody tells you you're tall.
Yeah, what's the weather like up there?
Yeah.
And all that
There's
stuff.
all those
They do stake shit that high.
Yeah. No, and nobody ever says, "Gee, you're a terrific guy," and
No.
tall.
I was in Billy the Pigs one night, and this guy came up to me and said, "Yeah, mate, what are you? You're a bouncer?" And because I was all in black, didn't have the hustle over there, so I looked at him and said, "No, I'm a pornographer." He said,
What is a pornographer?
well, a pornographer is someone, well, I guess the technical term more is someone who who distributes adult material. Non-violent erotica, which I guess the technical term that the industry loves, is one that it doesn't hurt anyone. You know, JT Publishing, the company that puts out Hustler, have always stated we'll never get involved in child pornography or anything to do with violence. It's just, you know, pictures of women or couples with their clothes off. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, we all are exposed to it. There's probably far too many inhibitions out there.
What is your role at Hustler?
I'm the business manager. It means I'm responsible for allocations, making sure the advertisements get filled, making sure everyone gets paid.
No. But you seem to have an editorial view about the industry that you're working in. Did you get into the industry because you saw some, you know, is this a profit-driven thing? Or you
well, it's a job.
A job, that's what I was looking for.
It pays the bills, but I don't have a philosophical problem with what I do. It's a outrageous magazine. I mean, the jokes are gross. Some of the editorial, you know, is perhaps not my personal cup of tea, but there's a huge market out there for people that like a sick joke, that like looking at attractive women, and male and female. I had one woman ring me up who would have been in her 60s, and her and her husband on a little farm in rural Victoria love the magazine. I think it's wonderful. Fine. Can we subscribe for 12 months? Of course you can.
Do you find that socially you have to go through some kind of an explanation process every time you tell people what you do?
Well, it depends. I mean, if I'm out in the Hustler, the kit, yes. I'm obviously at a function at one of the clubs in the Cross or in town. I tend to say my business card says JT Publishing. I'm the business manager, so I'm not the head pornographer.
When you first started, did you find it erotic? Did you find it stimulating?
I really haven't bought a pornographic magazine personally for years. I mean, when you're in your early teens and what have you, yes, you sort of go, oh, look at this, because you're still trying to figure out what it's all about.
A magazine like Hustler, if you read Hustler, does that mean that you're morally corrupt in every way, or are you just sexually interested? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Just because you read a book like Hustler, Playboy or Penthouse does not automatically make you a serial killer or a rapist. It means that you have an interest in the female form, as are the women that read Playgirl and what Australian Women's Forum. I mean, there's more willies in that than you'll see in Hustler any day. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're a degenerate in other areas, no.
Are you degenerate in any area?
Well, I'm probably not the best person to ask on that one. I don't believe so.
Come on, tell us what you think about women. That's really
I love women.
Okay, but how do you love them?
What do I appreciate most about them?
Yeah. As a self-confessed pornographer, now this is what I'm asking. You see, this is the point of the question that, you know,
Has my image of women deteriorated by being a pornographer? No, I don't believe so.
If we sort of had an arbitrary scale of male chauvinist pig at one end and sensitive new age guy at the other, where would you put yourself on that scale?
Well, my ex always used to say I was a snag, but I would tend to say I'm more on the snag side than the pig side.
So you're not an extreme at either end?
No.
But if anything...
I'd err on the side of snagness.
You're not your job, you're not who you work for, you are...
I'm me. What surrounds you does not define you. It's what's within you and the way you look at life, the way you treat people, the way you react within society that defines who a man or woman is, and that's more important than anything else.
You're a postie, right?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a silly question? We're from SBS.
Yeah, sure.
Why do you carry a baseball bat?
Protection from dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can I sit down next to you?
Yes, what do you want to ask me?
What's your name?
What's this for? My name's Sally.
What is it?
Sally.
Sally. My name's Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
We just go around the streets and sit down and talk to people.
Oh, okay.
You know, have little conversations about why they're here, what got them here, where they're going today and in life.
In life? I don't know where I'm going in life, but yeah, I came here for a coffee. It's a good place to come for a coffee.
Do you come here often for coffee?
I do, yeah.
Why? Do you work nearby or live nearby?
No, I work in film, so I come here for a coffee on my way to work, and I come here on my days off. Yeah.
What do you do in film?
I'm a camera technician. I go out and shoot, do what you do. Yeah.
You mean what he does?
What you do. Yeah.
You're a camera person.
A camera person, or actually known as clapper loader.
Clapper
in
loader.
film, yeah.
Right. And are you working on a production at the moment?
Not at the moment, I'm not. That's why I'm here.
How long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it for about 2.5 years now.
Was it difficult to break into it?
Yeah, it was difficult, but if you want to do something, I think that the door's always open, so.
There's not a lot of female camera technicians that I'm aware of.
I think I'm originally from New Zealand. I think there's a lot more in Australia, and I think that there's a lot of women that broke in probably about 10 years ago, and they sort of encourage other women.
Do you feel any kind of vibe that maybe because you're a woman you're a different camera person to what a man would be?
No, not at all.
No?
Not at all. I mean, a lot of it's really physical, and I think that that's probably the hardest part. I find anyway, that once you start lifting the gear, you know, it's up to you, that's your job, and if you can do it, then you can do it. And I think that men are really open to it. I just think it comes down to people's attitude. I think that if people are rude in general, then they're always going to be rude, and if people have a chip on their shoulder, they're always going to have a chip on their shoulder. If they choose to make it a female problem, then that's their problem.
Yes.
But I think majority of the time, most people are really good and like mixed crews and like mixed people.
Well, there's some fantastic Australian cinematographers and directors of photography. I mean, do any of them constitute a kind of a role model for you?
No, I don't. I mean, this probably sounds really awful, but no, for me, no. I think that when you look around, the work is so different, and the people, the way they work is so different. But I think it's a really good thing to watch what people do, whether it be directors or DOPs. Because everybody's got something different to add. There's a lot of really good people out there, and I think that depending on what you want to achieve, then you look around and take a little bit from each of those people. I think that's encouraging.
When was the last job? What was the last film that you worked on?
Last job I did was a commercial. That was probably 3 days ago.
Right. When is your next job?
My next job's not until Friday.
And how is it, you know, leapfrogging job to job?
It's really difficult, especially at the moment. I don't know how other people find, but I think this year's been a really tough year, and I think that there's a lot of cut in budgets, and there's a lot of cut. You know, like everybody's going through it. You guys are too. So. Yeah.
What's the biggest project that you've worked on?
So far, the biggest project would have been probably Muriel's wedding, and that was as a camera training. That was my first step in.
In work, what do you aspire to as a camera technician? What would you like to sort of do in the near future? What would you like to...
I guess eventually most people, if you're in camera, you head towards that of a director of photography, and if, for myself, I'm interested in pursuing documentaries. I'd like to shoot and direct. Yeah, a lot of docos I'd like to do where you are observing as opposed to, you know, I mean, you can observe, but everybody observes back, you know, and I would prefer to do it where you aren't so obvious. That way I think the way you see things and the way that you get reactions are a lot more real. People, places intrigue me.
Yeah.
People are fascinating, you know. I think there's something, anything about people, I mean, if you sit down and watch people, it's really, sometimes it's very funny, and sometimes, you know, if you sit somewhere longer now. It sounds terrible. But you'll see a lot of things that you just don't usually acknowledge.
And do you do that? I mean,
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
I
sit there and spy on
yeah, I
people.
watch people a lot.
Have you got a view about humanity as a result of watching your fellow humans?
Sometimes it's pretty negative, but but I think that that's just the way things are. You know, I just think that.
When you say negative, you think that we're all a bit too flawed.
I think so, but that's just the way we all are, you know. And it's like, how do you change that?
How would you mark human nature? What would you?
As in, what, score?
Yeah, score out of 10.
4. I'd give him a 4.
What about yourself? What would you give you?
About a 1 at the moment. No, I'll go with a 4 as well. Yeah,
You're about average.
I'm about average, I think. There's a lot of people that probably disagree with you, but I think I'm about average.
The good points and the bad points end up at around 4.
Yeah.
There's a bit of work to do.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of work to do. But I think, I don't think it's a bad 4. I just think that that's just the way we are, and I think that's pretty good anyway, regardless. There's good people out there, I'm not trying to be really negative.
Yeah.
But I just think that we get caught up in a lot of stuff that really, at the end of the day, it's... I can say that because I do it.
How you doing?
Not bad.
What are you doing?
Cable TV.
Cable TV? Are you laying it? What's you laying?
We're putting in draw cable.
But that's what it, then laying it. You don't look very active. What are you doing right now? What are you considering?
We're just about to go up and tie the rope up the other end, see if our fiberglass rod's gone through.
What's your name?
Carlos,
Carlos, from?
South America,
What part of South America?
Ecuador.
What's your name?
My name's David,
David. Are you from?
from Australia.
You're an Aussie.
Yeah.
Dinkum.
Yeah, it's the one.
What's your name?
Luke,
Luke from?
Tilapia,
Where?
Tilapia,
Where's Tilapia?
North Parramatta.
You born and bred there?
Yeah,
Yeah. You're an Aussie too.
yeah, born and bred.
What about you?
I'm Eddie. I'm Smithfield. Yeah.
Where are you from?
Fiji.
What are the 3? Is that tattoo marks? Those
Yeah.
3 marks?
Yeah. It's it's tribal
Yeah.
initiation
Uh-huh.
to show like manhood. From where I come from, the village,
Yes.
like every 12 years old go through this.
Now I notice you've got some scars on your face. Did you have an accident?
Car accident, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, car accident. I was drunk, and I saw the police, and I freaked out. I just took off, and I smashed my car. I know it's a stupid thing to do because I was drunk and was driving. So
So you don't drink and drive anymore?
no more. I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
No more for me now.
When was that?
A couple of years ago, just 3 years ago.
Here in Sydney?
Yeah, here in Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you no longer having trouble with the police?
No more now.
No.
Yeah, I'm naturalized Australian now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
What
So
was-
I'm a fair dinkum Aussie now.
Yeah. We have a program called Front Up. We just talk to people, and meet them and say, hello, my name is Andrew, and what's yours?
Paul.
Paul. Now, excuse my ignorance, but I know you're in the army, but
Yes.
what rank are you?
I'm a major in the army,
How do I tell that?
by the epaulets.
That's pretty high up,
Middle of the range.
middle of the range. If I may say so, you're not very old.
No. How
old are you?
33 in
33.
September. Yeah.
Right. What attracted you to the army?
Back in year 10,
Yeah.
I decided, a lot of my schoolmates were leaving school and getting into jobs and whatnot. And I thought, blow it, I'll go off and do the same thing. And decided to apply to become an apprentice chef or a jeweller or a technician in the army. And the army happened to answer first, so I took it. And it was that simple.
Was it a good decision?
Yeah, I haven't had any regrets at all. Yeah, I've been in the army since I was 16 now. So
that's
well.
all your adult life.
Pretty well, yeah.
Has it changed you?
Considerably, yeah.
How? can you say?
Well, insofar as I've grown up in my adult life in probably one of the most conservative parts of Australian society, and so you get a certain amount of that sort of push down onto you, and you accept it either willingly or unwillingly. And I feel as though I've been able to pick out those conservative pieces of that I want to take on,
Yes.
and those bits and pieces I don't want to take on, I've sort of not taken on at all.
How much does the discipline and regimentation impact on your personal individuality?
Well, I suppose I have to temper that a little bit. I'm a Virgo by birth anyway, so I tend to be a bit, probably a little bit anal about, having things in the right spot and having things neatly put away, and therefore
So it doesn't
coming across as
conflict.
being regimented, and therefore being in the army doesn't conflict at all.
It suits you down to the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have are you married?
Yes.
Yes. Is your wife like that?
No, Carol is at the opposite end of the spectrum. She's a Taurus, likes to live as she sees fit, and I clean up after her.
Every day.
Oh, not every day, not at all, no.
Yeah. Is she in the army?
Once upon a time she was. She was a musician in the band corps in Brisbane. That's how we met. There was an accommodation shortage on back in the early 80s, and some of us guys were living in the ladies' lines up in Brisbane. And as a young apprentice who just finished my training as an apprentice technician, we were slotted over to the same barracks area as the girls and got to live, eat, socialise with them, and then, some of us picked up on relationships and went on from there.
Most people's view of soldiers in Australia is pretty limited, I suspect. I mean, unless people have something to do with them.
Yes.
We imagine that you guys spend your days practicing killing and running around with tanks and guns.
Yeah.
How much of that do you actually do?
Not as much as people would think that we would do. A lot of our time is spent training for operations, whether they are operations other than war, peacekeeping operations or warlike operations, and our infantry soldiers will spend the majority of their time training for those types of possible deployments and or operations. Those of us who are not in the infantry or the armoured corps or the artillery areas tend to focus on our immediate service type provision of services to those other corps.
We get this picture of you having a fairly ordered life. Is that true? Is that a real perception, accurate perception?
Yeah, reasonably, yeah. I'd like to think that certainly as far as career progression, that certain things are expected to happen at certain points on the timeline of having a military career, and if they don't happen, then you make a decision one way or the other. And
does this also apply in your private life?
No, that's fairly haphazard actually.
Is it?
But the only thing I really do like to keep in order are my part-time studies, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are your drawers neat and tidy?
In fact, yes, they are. Rudely so, and Carol will tell you that. Yeah.
And hers?
Absolute mayhem.
But was this always the case? Were you always kind of opposites in that regard?
Yes, yeah, always has been, and in fact, it's become quite the issue of comedy at home now. I'll fold my t-shirts and my shorts. Carol just throws hers in the drawer and be done with it.
And neither of you are going to change.
Not at all. No.
But
Quite happy being each other.
Just trying to pick whether you're a nurse, a doctor, an eye surgeon.
Wrong.
What do you do?
You'll never guess.
I'll never guess.
But I've got to go back to work.
Give me a clue.
No, a radiation therapist.
Radiation therapist.
You never would have guessed. would you?
No, I would never have guessed. What's your name? My name's
Kevin.
Kevin. I'm Andrew.
Good to meet you, Andrew.
Nice
How
to
are
meet you. Do you work around here?
Yeah, I run the hotel just there.
Oh, do
Just
you?
on the corner,
You run
yeah,
a
the
hotel?
Albert.
Oh, I must get friendly with you. What's it like running a hotel?
Has its moments, yeah.
Tough?
Interesting, tough, yeah.
Long hours?
Long hours, yeah, very much so.
Are they?
Very much so,
Have
yeah.
you always done that?
Yeah, for the last 10 years, yeah.
We sit down
Yeah,
here.
surely.
It's
Surely,
sort of
surely.
Standing in the middle of the road.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you work behind the bar yourself?
Yeah, I try to as much as
Yeah.
possible. But then again, there is a lot of times that you can't because people want to talk to you. You're in the spotlight, so...
Are you the sort of Are you the typical barman
it.
that
You're
people want to
it.
bend your ear?
Oh, yeah, look, I'm there to listen to everybody's problems in life. You have to try to enlighten them, because that's what they're coming there for, to be entertained.
They want a word of advice? Or
Well, yeah, to a point, yes, but you've got to be careful what you say to them as
they
well.
want you to listen, I suppose.
A lot of them, well, it depends on what time of night it is. A lot of them will listen, a lot of them just go on with rubbish. But during the day, it's a different story than what in the evenings.
Yes.
Telling people, I try not to give too much advice because everybody is different. All right, but my theory in life is to put a smile on someone's face. So if I have to be an idiot to get that smile on that person's face, that's what it's about.
In running the business, apart from the customers, which is of course one very important side of it, there is the other side of marketing and getting
promotions, very much so. I've just finished my Olympic promotion, which I had going for 2 weeks. It was quite large. You put out your flags and your colours and all that in North Sydney, because it sticks out, because North Sydney is a very grey and business-like area, and the feel that I have to enlighten North Sydney and to increase trade, of course, is to make it a very loud visual effect. So your promotions are always talked about.
Could I ask you a favour and show us your bar?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. We've got another one just up the road as well.
Yeah. So this is the upmarket bar.
Yeah. Well, look.
Is this your favourite part, or do you prefer the other?
I don't like to put categories.
Let's have a
put it
look
in categories. Yeah, come on in. It all happens here, you know.
Yeah.
Friday nights, Thursday nights, it's really happening. So that's what it's all about. As long as people enjoy it.
What's the most popular drink here?
Oh, I'd say Illusion.
What's that? Cocktails
in general.
Do you mix drinks yourself?
No, they don't let me.
Uh-huh.
Once I get into this area, it's like, here comes Kevin. He's good at other things, but when it gets to cocktails, no. But I'll tell you what, let's go next door.
Okay.
And I'll introduce you to one of my other staff. Now, she's been in North Sydney behind the bars for over 20 years.
Oh, this is Olga.
This is Olga. Oh, this is Olga. This is
Hello,
Sarah.
Olga.
Hello, darling. How are you?
Very well. We hear you're an institution here.
Yeah, I'm part of the furniture, darling. Part of the furniture.
Well, a very nice part of the furniture.
Did this young gentleman tell you that?
He said that you've been here for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. To be precisely, just over 20 years.
Just over 20 years.
Of course, this was all different then.
Yes,
This wasn't as new as this.
What can you tell us about Kevin that he wouldn't tell us
He's the most
himself?
wonderful young gentleman.
Is he?
Adore him to bits. He's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful man.
He's a good boss.
He's a very good boss. Absolutely, definitely. And
He obviously values you.
Oh, I hope so.
Yes, I
certainly
think
hope so.
We got that impression. Told us he's a performer.
Oh, I tell you what, that's not a thing he wouldn't perform.
Face for radio.
Yes.
Yeah, he's definitely
And he's got a good
wonderful.
sense of humour.
Absolutely, definitely has done it. I mean, he's been Elvis, he's been...
Elvis? Elvis, you didn't tell us, Kevin.
Oh, okay, well there you are, see, modesty.
What else? What other secrets can you tell us? What else
He's
has
been
he
a clown,
Yes.
haven't you, darling? Huh?
Every day.
No, seriously, he's beautiful.
Terrific.
Really lovely, darling.
Thanks for your time,
That's
Olga.
a pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Can I get you a drink?
Thank you.
No?
In a minute.
In a minute.
So Elvis.
Yeah.
Elvis, you doing Elvis?
One of the promotions that I've put on, I had a rock and roll week. Each day was a different theme. Elvis one day, then we had the Beatles, Rolling Stones and all that. And what I did with the Elvis one was I actually got my hair dyed, went to a makeup artist, got it all done in the morning, then hired a stretch limo, drove around North Sydney. On the side of it, Elvis going to Albert's Tavern. That's all I had on it. And with the stretch limo, you could stand up through the roof, wave to everybody. Yeah, it's great little promotion.
It was a success.
Very much so. But the best one was the one I did with the Pope. The Pope came into Australia and actually went up to Mary MacKillop's grave, which is just up the road, Mount Street. So on that day, I actually hired a stretch limo in the morning, hired a Pope costume, got dressed as the Pope, full-on gear, and on the side of the limo, I put right alongside going to Albert's Tavern. Did the same as what I did with Elvis. Then the cops pulled us over and searched me and the car and the driver and everything else, and thought it was a bit risque, so we had to get off the road while the Pope was in North Sydney, but it was the best advertising I ever had because there was about 7,000 or 8,000 people thinking I was the Pope, especially with the wording going to Albert 7. So those kind of promotions are good fun.
But is that really a part of your thinking about it? Is it part of your motivation, or is it purely marketing and promoting?
Well, of course, bottom line is marketing and promoting, but the idea is in life and with anything you do, you must enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah.
You know, how many people can say that they're like a big kid having a heap of fun and still at work?
I go to work so I can think up crazy ideas.
And that's all I do.